It's not often that you find what might possibly, maybe, could be learned that it is kind of my social media twin, so to speak. Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy this episode. We sat down with Matt Griswold. He's a real estate agent over in Bolivar, Missouri. But he's also the interview guy. He's also the coach. He's also a substitute teacher. He's also a speaker, and he's an author. So, or I guess he's going to be an author in the process. But you can watch this conversation, learn a little bit more about Matt. We get into real estate struggles. We get into Alzheimer conversations, music, a little bit of everything. And it was really fun. And like I said, getting to sit down across from kind of your business twin is a unique experience. And I appreciate Matt and his wife, Rianne, for taking the time to come here and sit down with us. So I hope you enjoy it. Be sure if you're liking this stuff, hit subscribe, follow us, share it when you see it on social media. I really think that we've got an opportunity here to do some really cool things, and we can't do it without your support. So appreciate you guys and hope you enjoy the conversation. Now we can. See, that's a perfect segue because now we talked about a few things and know you a little better. Okay. But now it's not so hot in here. It was hot. I was starting to sweat.
Drink some water. You got some water right there.
Welcome to Lebanon. Yeah. I just saw you on social media. I think it was Saturday maybe. I don't know what day it was, but either way, I saw your video and I actually sent it to like 7 different people. And I was like, this is me in Missouri and 30 minutes down the road. Yeah. So it was kind of weird.
It's weird. I didn't have this on my calendar. If you saw it Saturday, I don't think you and I talked till
it was
Monday or something like that.
Monday or Tuesday night.
I was sitting on the couch at the house and got a Facebook friend request from somebody named Ramsey, and I was like, and the first thing you do is always you go, okay, who do I know mutually? Like, what's our connection? I don't think we had any mutual friends.
I think we had 1 or maybe 2.
Okay, and then right as I'm looking at that, trying to decide because my wife will get on to me because I'll accept anybody. Like, I'll be friends with anybody. Like, whatever,
Thanks. Awesome.
I can always sell somebody a house. Like, maybe that's what they want or something. And so, and then you sent me that messenger message. And so I got that message and kind of outlining what it was that you had seen the interview guy.
Right.
The interview guy video. And that came, we could talk about that later, but, so anyway, I don't know. You just had this comfortability, or if I can use that word. And so I thought, okay, you asked one about coming in studio. I'm like, talk more about what do you mean? Who are you, and what do you want? What do you want from me? And then here I am. So
I think we're just now finally, after about 5 years, figuring out who we are and what we're doing. So and people like you probably get it. Yeah. We'll get into some of that as we kind of progress, but. I called you Mark like an idiot a little bit ago, but it's Matt Griswold, right?
Matt Griswold, yeah. I said one of the other apostles there, but yeah, Matt Griswold from Bolivar. I graduated from Bolivar in 1996. All right. I mean, Bolivar's a great community. There's a lot of similarities with Lebanon and Bolivar, size-wise, and the sports-wise, and things like that too. But yeah, Bolivar's a great community.
We don't have SBU in a good college like that, but.
Not SBU. Do you have any like satellite?
We have OTC, Drury. We have some small little satellite campuses. Yeah.
Bolivar, SBU makes it's huge for the community. I do a lot of interviews with the people in the community. SBU is like the number one or 1A that draw people there. People go there to go to school, right? And then they fall in love with the community, then they stay forever and have grandkids, right? Or the other thing that just happened in Bolivar, which is huge, is the CMH expansion, the hospital. So they just opened this big, huge wing of CMH, and that's another draw that people want to be there. So it has a couple.
It's growing. I remember when I was in school, there was a stat like Bolivar was the richest per capita city in Missouri, I think, or maybe something.
They were also the safest town in America. They put it on a billboard right outside of and then it was no longer the safest town in America.
How do you, that's kind of the peak. Like if you put that there, you have nowhere to go.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's almost like a target on your back. Right. And some people, especially that live there, they're like, there's a lot of drugs just like 15 minutes from here, maybe not in town. So I don't know if it was the best marketing, but yeah, both of those things. I think they recognized former Governor Mike Parson from Bolivar, which he's a great guy. Hopefully one of my next interviews that I'm going to do there with Governor Parson. And yeah, it's got a lot going for it.
You touched on it earlier, and I want to talk about it probably at length. So if you're watching this and you're not a fan of real estate talk, we're going to touch on that quite a bit. So
we'll make it fun.
We'll make it fun. But you just came from a conference in Springfield, right? This morning.
Yeah. So real estate is part of what I do. Right. So it's a lot of what I do, but it's a part of what I do. I'm also a keynote. I keynote. I travel the country and keynote conferences and for different types of associations and stuff like that. And so I'm a speaker from the stage. Today I was with the Missouri Association of Recorders, County Recorders. Okay. There, so probably somebody from Lebanon was in that room.
Wild group.
It was fun. Like the theme of the conference was, it was like 80s rock. Classic rock was the theme. And so
I don't think I ever would have had that on my bingo card for a recorders conference.
It was cool, and the keynote I did today is called Harmony and Melody. I write all my own content. My company's called Matt Griswold Speaks. Okay. And so that's my speaking. And so write all my own content. I'm writing a book right now that should be out in the fall, and we'll start touring on that and stuff like that. But first book. Yep.
How's that been?
It's been cool, and here's the, I don't even know if it's a spoiler alert because I'm pretty transparent about it. I don't read. I'm not a reader. And so, but when you're a keynote, everybody asks you, like, do you have a book? Do you have a book and do you have a podcast? Do you have a book? Do you have a podcast? And I always felt like a hypocrite. Like, hey, I'm going to write a book. And here, you read it. I probably won't, right? You read it. And, but I finally was like, okay, well, let's jump into the thing. Let's jump into the process. Okay. So started writing this book with this publishing company that had been after me for a little bit, but you get that all the time too as a speaker. It's like, hey, would you like to write a book? We'd love to help you write a book. Or, hey, would you like to book more gigs? We'll help you book more gigs. You get that all the time. And I have never said yes, but I met these wonderful people. I was speaking at an event in Columbia and they're based there, and they came to the hotel that I was at and talked to me. And I was like, this feels better. So, but it's been awesome. I love the experience of it. I love to tell stories anyway. I tell people I'm a horrible behind the podium speaker. I'm an engager of the people, right? I like to be out there with the people. Walker arounder. I MC events. You talked about MCing as well. And so I do a lot of MC work and keynote conferences and I also do real estate as well. So it's fun.
It all started with real estate though, right? Like the kind of timeline, how things.
So went. I've been a speaker for, so years ago, I've always loved words. I always attribute this to my mother. My mother was a retired second grade teacher. She loved words, loved books, loved children's books, loved reading. And she would always encourage me to use my voice. And she would put me at different school events, like, can you announce the students or, whatever. And I was okay. And so my love for words and the rhythm of words and language, I think, definitely came from her. And then, so fast forward, I was a corporate trainer for JP Morgan Chase for like 15 years on the credit card side with service and sales and stuff like that. So I was in front facilitating, teaching. Well, they sent us, they invested heavily into the trainers. And so I learned all kinds of how to facilitate groups of people, because it's one thing. I hear people all the time, like, I'm not embarrassed to talk in front of people at all. Doesn't mean you do it well, right? There's a way to do it, maybe not a way to do it. And so, but man, they invested heavily in the trainers and the art of facilitation and stuff like that. From there, I went to work for a consulting company and I worked with organizations all over the country. But then my job kind of morphed into, let's just see how many conferences we can get into. Healthcare was a big one. Publishing was a big one. Manufacturing was a big one. Let's hit these associations. And Matt, your job is to go get as many conferences as we can. Let's get out in front of as many people as we can and evangelize the company for the consulting company. And let's do that. And so I did that for about 7 years or so, 8 years, something like that. And then about a year and a half ago, everything kind of changed, and we had a falling out there, which is fine. But so my wife, who's always believed in me more than I have, it was like, let's do this, right? Okay. You're booking the conferences, you're finding the conferences, you're speaking at the conferences. Matt Griswold speaks. Let's do it. And so we jumped in both feet. I didn't anticipate losing my job at that time with a consulting company, and so that was daunting. But also what I had done behind the scenes, to your question, was I had a buddy who was a broker, and he's like, why don't you get your real estate license? Because I think he got tired of me calling him like, hey, can we go look at this? Hey, can we go look at this? Because I just love it. I've been a hobbyist in it for a while, right? I just want to go look at the property. And I would remember things about the houses, or I would compare and contrast. And so I finally started the process of getting my real estate license. Going on, I probably started the process almost 2 years ago. But I did it casually. Right. And what's interesting, though, is when lose the job at the consulting company, I think it's a God thing, but ultimately what happened was I passed my national exam like the same week, lost the job at the consulting firm. And I was fretting to the point of I don't want to wait for the mail for them to mail me my license because I want to start promoting it now. We passed the test and got in the car and we drove to Jeff City, and I got my license right there, and they handed it to me, and then boom, social media, here I come. I'm your real estate agent. And so the speaking thing was first, for sure. And it's definitely my passion and I love it. And then the real estate came, and real estate quickly went from like, side gig, I'll do it in addition to the, consulting business. And then it was like, oh man, there's opportunity here. I got to move some stuff here, right? I got to do some stuff. And so that's kind of where that morphed and how it started anyway.
Side note, will Missouri ever get rid of having to go to Jeff City for your license if you need to? So. It's the most, it's so frustrating. I've changed brokerages multiple times, but like you, the day I passed the exam, I already knew my brokerage I was going to, Remax here in town. And then went into her and she's like, okay, it should be 7 to 10 days. And I was like, no, it'll be 3 hours.
I'll be right there.
We'll be right back. And got that work permit so that you could be officially official,
Officially, yeah. So you could start promoting it.
Right.
You're official.
And that's where it's weird because I always, in these conversations, I've always kind of attributed real estate. I really personally probably will go to the grave feeling like real estate is the ultimate small business. And I think as we've grown our businesses, I've started to be able to correlate, and now it's kind of coming full circle because I'm understanding in the growth side of the two companies we have over here, the one company really, that what I should have done in real estate would have worked. And so now I can take those lackadaisical mindset that I had in real estate because, you start posting on social media and naturally your phone rings, you start to understand it better, but you don't understand the little parts of it, or you don't understand, okay, well, you've got social media conquered, so to speak, because your phone's ringing, but a website or follow up or additional lead gen, and you got all these people telling you should do it, but you're like, oh, my phone's ringing, I'm good. And so I can take those same basis and learn in these companies how to not let business fall through those cracks. And so it's easy. It's
easy to let happen, right? And I tell everybody the hardest part of our real estate is I think anyway, I haven't figured out the secret sauce. It's impossible to forecast. I mean, it's not like I'm going to sell 5 houses this month. And it's like, maybe, it's good. And then you're like, oh, okay, cool. I've climbed the mountain. I've made it. And then you kind of take a minute. And then pretty soon it's like, it's a very much, what have you done for me lately? Kind of a role. And so, that was the hardest part going into it for me. It was all very exciting. But I had to learn a lot very, very quickly on the fly. And I knew social media was going to be a presence of it, a part of it. I love making videos anyway with the interviews and it's a video content world, right? I mean, and so I'm more than happy I like to document businesses around town, or if I had a great experience somewhere, I had to Sawyer trailer. Sawyer trailer. I just impromptu, I just like to give kind of a shout out to a business that does a good job. They're not paying me anything for that, right. But foundationally for me, real estate, speaking, you kind of have to walk it backwards. And the older I get, you realize this, but you have to kind of walk it backwards. Why are you doing anything? Why do you want to do anything anyway? And for me, my life's purpose, I just want to impact people's lives in a positive way. I want to impact people's lives in a positive way. That's what I want to do. We were talking about it earlier before we started. You all just genuinely want to help people. I genuinely want to help people, right? I want to impact people's lives in a positive way. I think that's my life's mission. And for me, I can do that in multiple different ways. I can do that from speaking. The cool thing about owning your own company for speaking is I can say what I want, right? I can say what I want. I could talk about stories that mean something to me. I'm not evangelizing for a company. Now, this is me, but it's life and work, and these are my stories. Having 5 kids, you accumulate stories, or you work for different companies, you accumulate stories. The same thing. It's a very relational business. Real estate's a very relational business too. It's all about the people. I'm all about the people. In Bolivar, I don't know what it's like here, but in Bolivar, there's 1,000 real estate agents. Or everybody, this, everybody's got a friend that's a real estate agent. And it's okay, are they good though? You still want somebody that's kind of passionate about it, right? And so I had to kind of learn to crack the code. I couldn't just go on social media and do what everybody else is doing, right? If somebody's going on social media and they're going, hey, check out this 3-2. Doesn't this look awesome? Wouldn't you love this kitchen? I mean, every now and again, I'll take a picture if it's a really sweet outdoor kitchen or something like that. But I thought, you're just going to get lost in the noise from everybody else's social media. And so we talked about, I was like, what do I want to do? And I'm with, I should say this, my broker is Dusty Ross. Neighborhood Real Estate in Bolivar is who I'm with. And our office is right on the square in the old Polk County Bank building. It's a historic building, pretty cool deal. But when we first started, I was like, okay, how do I want to differentiate myself from everybody else? And what is it maybe I feel like I'm gifted in that maybe not everybody else is gifted in? Because a lot of people, again, just because you can shoot yourself talking into the video doesn't necessarily mean it's engaging or intriguing. And I feel like I'm gifted in that. And so, okay, so how do I take that opportunity? What's the number one thing that people always say that is wonderful about living in Bolivar? When you talk to them, people always say it's the people. It's the community itself. It's the people. And so, great. How do I highlight the people? Let's go interview some of these folks that have been around here for decades that maybe some have forgotten of, but helped to create this place that you now want to live. And so I started picking people and just sitting down and having a conversation with them. It's called hashtag why do you call Bolivar home is the hashtag. And you'll see a series of interviews there. And what started as a real estate marketing kind of campaign has really kind of morphed into, I just love the story. I want to learn about the person. I love the history of the community that I'm involved in. I learn something all the time. And for me, I grew up in this town, so I knew these people, but you never sit down with them.
Right.
You never really sit down with them. Like, tell me your story. What's your legacy? Talk about your kids. What was one of your most profound business decisions that you made, right? And we just have this dialogue now. So we cut it up and we keep the shorter version of the Bolivar stuff for social media, but the entire version's on a YouTube channel. And so their family can go see that. And it's been a huge blessing in my life because I've done a couple. There's one in particular. His name's Don Roberts. And Don Roberts opened a sale barn in Bolivar in the 50s with his brother. And I've always known the sale barn. I've never met Donald Roberts. And somebody goes, you need to talk to Donald Roberts. And that's what happens when you start doing it. They're like, you know who you need to talk to. Right. And then the word gets around. And so I went and sat with Donald Roberts, this auctioneer sale barn guy. And he talked and told stories for 2 hours. And we just had a great time doing that. Unfortunately, like right after we did that, within a couple of weeks, he had fallen at home, goes to the nursing home, and he passed away within 2 months of me doing that video. But his family was like, oh man, thank you so much for capturing that moment, right? For capturing those stories and for capturing just him. And to me, whether I sell a house off of that or not,
doesn't matter.
It's a bigger picture for me of I think it's awesome that I can create that moment for people to hold on to forever. That's what I like. Who was your first interview? First one was Mark Stevens. Mark Stevens from Stevens Photography.
Okay.
Stevens Photography was this iconic, and what's funny is I talk about Mark, he's a friend of mine, but I talk about him in the keynote that I gave today called Harmony and Melody. Mark's pictures across the country. He's on the PowerPoint because he was impactful to me. But so Mark Stevens, super recognized in the community, photography studio just off the square. His dad bought the photography studio like around World War II era. So it's been this iconic building off the square. If anybody wanted their senior pictures done or family portraits, he was going to cost you a little bit more, but that's the guy, right? That's the guy. And for whatever reason, everybody has a camera, but not everybody's a photographer, so to speak. And he always got the best expressions. He would always get the best expressions and capture the best moments. And so, but he was also very charismatic. He announced that he was going to retire, selling the building, selling the icon, right? And so I got with him before he did that, and I got a video of him, giving me a tour of the studio. We interviewed in the studio before he sold it. Now it's a boutique or something, and then just got to hear him tell stories of what happened in that room and the cool people that have been through there in the studio. And we did kind of a follow-up session at his house as well, just on a couple of rocking chairs on his front porch. But he was just this fantastic interview that everybody knows. Everybody loves Mark. The sweet part is we were able to get it done. The first one, I took it to him. My wife and I took it to he and Susie at his house, and we said, hey, before we post it, we want you to see it. And it's about 25 minutes long, and it starts from the studio and at the end of it, I mean, just emotion, just tears, right? And he's like, you could play that at my funeral. I mean, that's my epitaph right there. Like, and I think it was right then that I was like, this is a pretty sweet deal. Right. And so just jumping into people's lives, we talk about it as a real estate marketing campaign, but which I think it started as that, but to me, it's much bigger than that now. Like, I'm capturing moments for people. And I've sold 2 houses from that, by the way, and none of them, they didn't live in Bolivar, but they were from Bolivar, knew people in Bolivar, and they had started watching the series. And so they knew the people that I was interviewing. And so they reached out and they're like, hey, kind of like you. I don't know you, but I feel like I want you to be our realtor. Can you help us do that? And I thought, to me, it's bigger than that. It's not just about that, but that's a very cool.
It's a byproduct.
It's a definite. Well, and Ramsey, I think it's the first one that called me to do that. She said, hey, my sisters and I are raised in Bolivar. We don't live there anymore. We're in Kansas City and around. One of them's in Rolla. And she said, our mother is, in her 90s. She just fell. She still isn't home, but we need to move her to Kansas City now. I follow your videos. Can you watch? Is it okay? Can we use your realtor? Will you help us sell our house? And I was like, this is awesome, right? So now I get to meet the sisters, and I'm helping them with a yard sale, and my kids are cleaning their gutters, and like, it's a family deal. And so we do that. Everything's done. Give everybody a hug, close on the house. Great. I mean, we got a full price offer an hour after I put the sign in the yard that first day, and great, done. Everybody's happy. 2 weeks later, they call me, Mom died. Mom passed away. And they said, but we've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I want to ask you a question. And I'm like, yeah. And they go, will you do her funeral? Will you speak at her funeral? And I was like, oh, wow. Right. Oh, wow. Yeah. And they're like, man, we just love to tell that you're, this man of God, this man of faith, and it's important to you. And it would be at the funeral home there in Bolivar. Everybody that we would have known, is kind of gone. Would you do the funeral? And my wife, who's always much more ready to jump in than I am, I was like, well, let me consider that. And I talked to Rianne. I was like, they are asking me to do the funeral. And she said, you said yes, right? And I was like, not yet, but I mean, is that a thing? Are we doing that? And that's honestly like the second or third time somebody has asked me to do their funeral for them too. But that was the first. I mean, look at that connection, right? From real estate, social media, you build this relationship, and now the first thing I started with, the family was brilliant, super fun, very sweet. All the nieces and grandkids and nephews and everybody's there, and in this chapel in Bolivar, and nobody knows me except for the four sisters, right?
They're walking in there like,
yeah. So I started like I would a keynote. I'm like, you're probably wondering what is that guy doing there, right? But I could tell by the vibe, it was just they wanted to honor their mom and grandma, and she had humor, and so they wanted to do that too, and so we had fun. But yeah, man, like. You mentioned byproduct, preaching at funerals, or people have asked me to do candlelight vigils for people because they see me speak, translate that into, you want to see this fun event, you want to preach at a funeral, like I'm covering the gamut, man, right. with stuff. But to me too, like anytime anyone asks me to do stuff like that, I feel like, I have to say yes. Like I not because I don't want to. I want to say yes, but I feel like, if I have impacted you in a way that makes you want to ask me to do that, 100%, let me do it.
Well, it goes back to we've had these conversations too. Like people want to know, like, I don't know. We've talked a lot about how like people are always asking for something, whether it's a check, whether it's your time or whatever, but like, there's a lot of people that can write the check. Those people are great. But there's a lot of people like us. We don't have we're building a business or a company, but it's our opportunity to give back in a way that we're comfortable with, a way that resonates, I think. And it's neat. I was going to ask you a question but you answered the question I was going to ask. But at what moment did you realize you were archiving? Because that's where we've kind of crossed over in the sports side, is understanding now that we're archiving these moments for kids and grandparents and that sort of thing. But I think you kind of answered it when you said after that Don Roberts interview.
So yeah, and he was one. I've had 2 or 3 of them pass away since I've done it. And I think I don't know, even that Mark Stevens one, whenever he was like, you could do this at my funeral, I was in a coffee shop in Bolivar, and I did another one with a man named Bill Bob Kallenbach, and Bill Bob Kallenbach's been around.
What a name.
I know, right? Right.
Bill Bob.
He wears this sweet brimmed hat, it's Bill Bob. And talk about a guy that has stories. That guy has stories. And so again, somebody that I had seen as a figure growing up, but I'd never really talked to him,
Kind of a town aura.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody knows Bill Bob. And, and so I did the interview with Bill Bob, but then I was at a coffee shop, and his son, John, came over to him, and he goes, "Hey, I just want to thank you so much for just capturing that for us, like for the family. Because if you're John, Bill Bob's your dad,
right?
He's dad. Mm-hmm. He's not Bill Bob, right? Bill Bob, tremendous stories. And so I think it was, I don't know if it was a moment where I was going, okay, I'm capturing history here. To me, it's, again, I want to impact people's life in a positive way. And if I feel like I'm doing that already, then nobody has to say it. I feel like I'm accomplishing something. And so, but gradually I would hear things like, wow, you could play this at my funeral. Would you speak at our mother's funeral? Thank you so much for grabbing that. Being hugged by family at the funeral whenever they're going, I'm so glad we got the opportunity to do that. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a moment that says, this is what we're doing. But to me now, I'm very, very cognizant of that as I'm continuing to do more and more. And what's interesting with that marketing deal, I don't know how long I'll do it. There's no timetable on how long I'll do it until it kind of runs its course. But with that marketing deal, for me, it's just I want to honor that person. I want to honor the time. It's never. I mean, I start with like, hey, Matt Griswold, neighborhood real estate here, back with a blah, blah, blah. And at the end, if you're looking to buy or sell, Matt Griswold, neighborhood real estate, give me a call. My phone number's right there. But I don't talk about that for the rest of the time.
Right.
This isn't my moment to be sales pitchy. I'm genuinely interested in capturing whatever story it is that they have. And I want to document that. The library came to me and they're like, man, one day we're going to have to get together. You're video capturing all these things, which is an important part of history, right? How do we save that stuff? And so I don't know. That's not my jam. My jam is the interview part, right? And so I just want to have the conversation. And so that's what I do.
Call me when you have the person. I'll handle it from there. Right. There's too much noise at the front and at the back end. You just want to be in the middle and make the impact that you can.
You know, the other reason I have to say this too, the other reason why the interviews are impactful to me is because my mom has Alzheimer's. I don't know if you've ever dealt with that, but my mom has Alzheimer's. Her mother, my grandma, died with Alzheimer's. My mom's brother, Kenneth, he passed away with Alzheimer's. Now mom has Alzheimer's, and she's in this, it's a wonderful facility called Parkview. It's in Bolivar. They do a wonderful job. Those people are amazing. But my mom is at the stage where she doesn't know me. She's still very kind or, sweet. She doesn't make a ton of sense when she's trying to talk. A lot of it is more hand motions whenever she can't find the words of what she wants to say. But growing up, this person who encouraged me to use my words all the time and really promote me, and she was my biggest cheerleader, so to speak. But, she was the smartest person that I knew. I always said, if I made it on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, mom would be my phone a friend. Like, she knew it. She knew she would know it. Being enamored, watching her fold laundry and answer all the Jeopardy questions when I was little. I was like, how do you know this stuff? And now she can't, right? Her brain's not there. And so, but I think there's at least a couple of times a week where I'm like, dadgummit, I wish I could ask mom that question because she would know it. And that's another motivating factor for me of capturing these things, because we wait until it's too late to then go, oh, I wish I would have asked him this. I wish I would have had that conversation with him. And if I can play a part to capture that, that's living. I think that's great.
There's a lot of parallels with you and I. Your mom, second grade teacher, you said. My dad, middle school science teacher, retired.
Awesome.
He's my stepdad, but he is my dad. His mom, Alzheimer's, passed away. I got to experience what that's like and how it resonates with me and my kids and what he went through and what my mom went through, watching her husband go through that and experience my grandma. Same. Yeah. So like I'm listening to your stories, and it's helping me even better understand the things that we're doing in our community. But it's also like I said, I always go back to people think it almost feels at times like people think we're self-centered for doing this sort of thing. In reality, like, peel back the layers of the onion. The self-centered is maybe the middle piece, I guess, if I'm going to use an analogy of an onion. I'm terrible at that. But like, again, there's levels to it. And if the helping and the being an impact on someone is the first level, and yes, there is some selfish level and some financial level inside that onion, but like breaking down the wall of just want to help, just want to highlight what you're doing. We need more of it. I always joke about, and Bolivar, I'm assuming, is the same way. Like, we're so far behind, but yet we're not really behind. You know what I mean? Like, where like trends and things come to Bolivar or come to Lebanon, in our case, later than we watched people watch it happen on the East Coast or the West Coast or whatever. But then like when it finally gets here and you're already doing it, then people are like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, because like you mentioned you did the one interview, daughters live in Kansas City, they're following you. Yeah. If you would have told business owners in 1970, 1980, 1990 that the social media would have put their footprint from Bolivar to Kansas City, some businesses on 13 as you're traveling back and forth from Kansas City or whatever, but now the internet puts us at people's front doors from wherever. And it's more powerful that way. But like, you have to find out how to reach them. It used to be, hey, I want to reach people, I'll call the newspaper. Newspapers are great. They serve their purpose. But like, that's not how you can do it in today's day and age, and the footprints that we can establish for our community. And plus we're championing championing our communities by doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's there's been like I said, highlighting certain businesses or whatever, and many friends I'm sure like you have that own businesses, and I like to support them. I also like just to recognize a job well done, or if I think somebody else will like it because I liked something so much.
Right.
I'd never do any of the, if I had a bad experience, I never do any of that. Nobody has time for that, but just highlight the good. But there's been, then it's, I guess it's a byproduct of that too, where, I've had several circumstances of business owners where they'll come to me and they'll say, hey, I see some of your videos like that. Can you come do a commercial for us? Great. And so we've gotten to do a few of those different, okay, instead of just a selfie, let's make a production of a commercial for the business. And so now we're getting into those things too, and we've been able to do a few of those, and that's kind of fun also. And so, but yeah, and I'll give you another example of that. And again, got nothing for it, but it's just a cool experience, and I wanted to bring it to the people. Was the courthouse on the square in Bolivar. It has a clock tower, and you can go up into the bell tower of the courthouse. And I think I just asked somebody one day. I was like, "Wow, that'd be cool. I'd like to go up there." I heard people go up there. And they're like, well, we don't really do that. Well, then, some people or whatever. And so the recorder, Carol Poindexter today, she's like, yeah, come on, Matt, I'll give you a tour. And so I got done doing that, and I was like, this is awesome. I took the family up there. We went all the way up there through these rickety stairs to get up to the clock tower, the bell, the giant bell that's up there. And then got done. I took a selfie up there because I like selfies. Well, to take a selfie when this is done. But I got done. And somebody, a videographer friend of mine, sent me a text. And he goes, hey, I saw that picture. That's cool. Can anybody just go up there? And I was like, you want to go up there? And he goes, yeah, I'd love to. And I was like, how about this? We'll get you the tour, but then you bring your video, bring your family, but bring your stuff, and let's create a video. And so he did, and he does amazing videography work also. And we just created this and threw it out there on YouTube and tagged a bunch of people, and it just. It went wild. And but that behind the scenes look of how do I use the opportunities maybe that I'm blessed to be able to get, but then how do I share those opportunities with other people like that, and again, you could say like, well, I got nothing for it, but I mean, this on the selfish side, I mean, my face is there, right. So you see me in the community doing those things, which I think is also marketing, But to me, it's also it's equally rewarding at the same time.
How are you embracing? And have you had someone call you an influencer yet? Because I hate it. I hate it.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, I have heard that. But what's cool is I can be at a garage sale in Fairplay, Missouri, and minding my own business, going through there, and they'll come up to me and they'll be like, hey. Aren't you that interview guy? Which is where the whole interview guy video concept, because I get that all the time. It's like, you're the interview guy, right? And what started as the real estate marketing thing, it's like, yes, I am the interview guy, and I embrace it. I love it, but I'm also the real estate guy. Like, I want you to think of me of that. I'm on the chamber board. I'm the Rotary guy. I have a basketball program with 9 different teams and 6 different coaches. We have a youth basketball program that they go everywhere. I run that. And I'm the speaker from the stage guy. Like, we wear many, many hats. And I thought that was a fun, kind of a tongue-in-cheek way to be able to say that. But not that they use the word influencer, but I get that people recognize me all the time. Yeah.
And it's weird because for me, and I've said it before, like it's a negative. I still feel like it's back to the trends of like what I mentioned, like being behind. Like I feel like we're still sitting on a world in small communities where influencer's negative because it's, oh, you're just an influencer. Oh, the influencer.
Some people are.
Right.
Some people are.
But they haven't got to see the good side of it yet because they're beat down with the negative side, or my kid watches that influencer or whatever, when they don't really understand that at its core, it is something that can be really good for a lot of different things at once.
Well, and I think maybe where I would separate myself from something like that is I don't do a whole lot of things scripted. You know, I'm not the videos that you see me do. Like if you saw that Sawyer tire, that was literally me and my son and a cell phone. And so I never want to lose the authenticity or the genuineness that might come from what I'm saying. I want to believe in what it is that I'm kind of also saying, but I also want people to understand that, you know, I've heard this before and it drives my wife and it drives her nuts and I don't really care for it, but people will say like, and not people, but I've heard this before. Like people say, nobody loves Matt like Matt, like that guy, you know, he's just all out there. But that saying kind of drives me nuts because I am coming from a genuine, authentic place of let me just, you know, and if you can laugh at my expense, then I'm more than happy to have you do that. If we can both have some witty repartee and be a little sarcastic, doesn't mean I'm trying to be a jerk. Like I'm just trying to enjoy. Right. But you know, and it's weird. It's a catch-22 because the people that hire me to do keynotes or MC work, that's the me they want. Right. I want you there. What you don't see behind the scenes is after I'm like, this was hard for me kind of today. Cause typically when I get off stage, like I'm just
ready to chill down a little bit. That's what we say in our house. Chill down.
Chill down. Chill down. I like it. But that's true, you know, and I was telling my wife, I was like, I need some food. And I said, it's like, I want to kind of decompress, but I can't yet, you know, and not that it's a production or a stage or any, you know what I mean? But, I love it. But people don't recognize there's that other side of me also. That's like, let me just chill down for a second, if I can say it.
I don't even know how
Is it too soon to say that?
I don't know how chill down started in our house. I think Greer, our 6-year-old, said something goofy one time and she got it mixed up. But I think I know the answer to this next one. How do you do it all? Because I see, you guys can't see her on camera, but off camera, I think the mastermind is sitting here really making sure and taking notes, but how do you do it all?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a big driver of that. Brianne, you know, again, she always, and I think this maybe is a universal truth that everybody probably, you just don't maybe recognize it, but everybody has to have somebody that's behind them driving it. Right. And so, and it doesn't matter who you are. And when I say driving it, not necessarily doing all the things, but motivating you or encouraging you or picking you up or also holding you accountable, to stuff. And I just, you know, I talk to, Rianne has no appetite for being in front of people, but she's a heck of an admin. She is a heck of an organizer, administrator. And that's what she does. And so for years she was telling me, you should do this on your own. She has a very entrepreneurial spirit, and I did not. I liked the security of a paycheck and, you know, health insurance and stuff like that. And so, but sometimes that's what it takes. Right. And so she is definitely if you, if you want to talk to me about speaking at a conference, I'm going to send you some deliverables. She created all of them, right? I have the content, but she creates the thing. Right. You want to sign a contract? It's coming from her. I wouldn't even know where to send you a contract. It's coming from her. The real estate stuff, of course, I mean, I do all that, but the speaking stuff, you know, she's on there. If you see a fun, and maybe if you've poking around on social media, if you see a fun, Canva created, I don't know, meme or whatever with me on there like this, I don't know how to do that. Like she does that. She does that. And, she just created the banner that we're going to have, you know, sponsoring the local Parks and Rec or whatever with my face on it. But she definitely drives that. The Grizzlies basketball program, the Mo Grizzlies is what it's called. I do all the coaching. She does all the accounting, all of that stuff. There's spreadsheets galore. And I don't speak spreadsheet at all. And so it's probably a frustrating thing for her. But we complement each other like that. And
how many times a week do you have to ask her what the code was for your password?
I do that regularly. Or we just got Starlink the other day and it's asking me for a password. And I'm like, what should we put as a password? I don't know. What do you want to put as a password? And so then she figures it out. And the hard part is, you know, and maybe it's a beautiful part of it too. Like I definitely depend on her, and it's cool two, like the very, very first time I got to keynote a conference, very first time I was listed as the keynote, not just the speaker or the breakout, workshop guy. It was the keynote. I was listed as the keynote, and it was in Denver, Colorado. And she came out this is when I was still in the consulting company, and she flew out with me, went to Denver, and she was the first person to give me a hug after I got off stage, just because she knew like that was the thing, right? That was the thing we were after. Like we had achieved it. And so it's important, that she's there to, I don't know. I'm the one that's kind of reading her, and she's reading me at the same time. And we just know we're kind of in lockstep together, hopefully. The accountability part, I just said this on stage earlier today because it just happened. I talk about her from stage and she doesn't like it. But I think people love to hear. I think people like the banter or like the real life that's happening because I just created a new keynote. I really kind of like it. I'm still working on it. It's not totally done, but I love the concept of it. And I sat down and she's on the couch and I was on the couch and I was like, check it out, listen to this. And I'm going through it. And she's like, where are you going with that? Like, what's that? What are they supposed to take from that? And I was like,
well, fine then.
Nothing.
Never mind.
Nothing. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
Over.
And so, but then it takes, that's that emotional reaction. But then I came to her and I was like, okay, I recognize you weren't trying to tear me down. What she's doing is she's trying to challenge me to think harder, think deeper. And I think it's important to have that. And I think it's important for somebody like me to listen to that. Even though it's hard sometimes too, the keynote I did, again, I've said it twice, so I may as well just tell you kind of what the gist of it, harmony and melody. I think there's two universal truths that everybody in the world can agree on. And it's hard to find universal truth, especially on social media, like we were talking about. There's very little that we can all agree on, but I think there's two things. And one of those things is music speaks to our souls. Music speaks to everybody. It's not the same type of music for everybody, but everybody has a genre or a song or something that takes you to a time and a place, right?
What's yours?
Well, for me, I'll tell you.
You don't have to give away the whole keynote, but what's yours?
For me, the year is 1996, Ramsey. I'm in Washington, D.C. And I was in Washington, D.C. on my senior trip from high school. And as I'm at this, I'm in this souvenir shop in Washington, D.C., looking at all the I Heart D.C. T-shirts and whatnots and stuff like that. And this magic comes over the speakers. And I'm like, what is this?
Is this how you met her?
Do what?
Is this how you met her?
No. She's like 7 years younger than me. But so she would have been, I don't know, we probably wouldn't have dated then. So but
96 DC.
96 DC, and the song comes on, and this is hey Siri, what's this song? Hey, Shazam. Whatever. And so I go up to the worker. I'm like, hey, what's this song? And he's like, Champagne Supernova by Oasis. And I was like, all right. Yeah. And so now, I don't know why, but now I can still hear that song. And I am in the souvenir shop in DC, right? Because music speaks to our souls. The other part of that is with my mom with Alzheimer's. This is where this whole keynote came from, which is cool that I get to write stuff that's important to me. And I think it's important to other people. She doesn't know me, right? She doesn't know me, but she knows music. For whatever weird reason, the connection with Alzheimer's and music is amazing. And it's also frustrating at the same time, right?
Amazing Grace.
They know it. They can recall the lyrics. The weirdest one, there's a 1977 Dr. Pepper commercial, and the jingle is, I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? And I don't know what algorithm I was on, but I saw it. I'm with my mom, pushing her through the facility, and we see a Dr. Pepper machine. And I go, I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, and she hops in and goes, wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? And I was like, what?
Wow.
It's 1977. And I tell people from stage too, like, you know what else awesome happened in 1977? I did. I was born in 1977. She doesn't remember me, but she knows that jingle. Right. And that's the power of music. That's a universal truth that I think music speaks to our soul. So I created this PowerPoint. By the way, for those listening, they're like, well, what's the second truth? Non-curable diseases suck. That's the second truth. I think we can all get behind both of those things.
Yes.
So anyway, I created this PowerPoint for harmony and melody, and it's a leadership. It ultimately goes to leadership, but there's two parts in music. There's the melody, and sometimes in life we are singing the melody. We are out in front. We are leading the keynotes, right? We have the vision, and we are leading from the front. But sometimes it's our turn to sing harmony, and harmony is not bad or second. Harmony simply complements the melody. And I think for us in our relationship, you're asking about Rianne, I'm full circling here. a lot of people view me as the melody. I'm the one under the lights or here, but the song is not the song without the harmony. And my wife is definitely the harmony to that. She's the one off stage going, you said that, probably shouldn't have said that. Or, hey, maybe make sure to plug this. And it's important that the melody listens to the harmony. Otherwise, the music is not as beautiful as what it could be.
Yeah.
And so, anyway.
My music moment is Brad Paisley. He Didn't Have to Be. I don't know if you're familiar with that song. I don't know if you're a country guy.
I love Brad Paisley.
It's the only song to this day that if I hear it, I won't change it, skip it, won't do anything. And it's all about a mom and going on a date and a single mom on a date and a dad and didn't have to be. And
okay, I know that song. I do know that song.
That's mine. My mom, I was fortunate that she met my stepdad in, it would have been 1996, I think. Year. And that was right when that song, it was about a year after that song hit. And so that's kind of my melody moment. I've got others too, but like that's the one. That's the one that you're like, stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
You remember, it brings you back. It takes you to a place, but it is, I had never heard the correlation of music and the Alzheimer's, but when you were talking about that, she used to sit in the chair and my dad was her dad. She thought that was her dad, and she would ask for dad. She'd get mad at dad, but then every once in a while, just Amazing Grace, that was her song that she sat there and it was, but those moments in that time, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going with here, but it's a unique correlation, I think.
It's a unique correlation, and it's I have, whenever I speak, I'll talk about mom with Alzheimer's. I'll talk about the fact that my wife and we lost a baby. I'll talk about that. I talk about leadership and organizational culture and stuff like that, but I do it in a way that's very personal and it
relatable,
combines life and work, right? And I'll have as many people, if not more people, come up to me and want to talk to me about their struggle with Alzheimer's in the family, or how they, their emotion with that, or losing a baby like we did. And to me, I think that's amazing. I was in Iowa last week, I guess, and I was speaking in Des Moines, and we talked about that keynote called "Lead Them Well," which is what the book is going to be based on. "Lead Them Well" is talks about losing our son, and right after tears, and right after it's over, the lady comes up and I see her. She goes directly to Rianne, goes directly to my wife, and they're embracing. And to me, it's like, that's it, right?
Right.
That's why
you were able to connect.
Man, that's why I love to, I love to use that ability as a blessing and opportunity to be able to pay it forward and pass it forward.
Well, I think for me, it's building those connections. And I think it's very similar to what you're kind of doing, where you're connecting your community to its people, or you're connecting, that's where in the real estate world, I've had so much success, was connecting what I'm doing to people that are doing what my clients need. Yeah. And I think that's where it started to understand better, like the videos and how we're making our community up on this pedestal, and we're showing off people who they don't necessarily know they need it, or they don't necessarily want it. But by the time you're done, they're like, oh, for us, it's one really cool thing when people walk in here and the text or the email prior, they're nervous. Nervous. I'm not good on camera, whatever. Mm. And then it's just like, just come sit down. And then when they come in a professional environment that's got, good lighting, and then they've seen the previous work, but the real connection is that first time they see the short clip or something. And then they're like, oh, I hate my voice, but man, you made me feel real comfortable, or I didn't think I would talk about that on camera. But next thing you know, you end up in a conversation about Alzheimer's, or you end up in a conversation about, we've talked with a couple other people. We had a guy in here last week, Tim, and he talked about how he works for Project 360 and helping youth. And then we looked at the connection of what we do with Jacket Nation Sports and the youth in our community. And we've been able to tie and help that organization out by just doing things like this, sitting down with their directors or their leaders. But the one I'm really excited most about is the kids. we're now getting parents thanking us because they've seen a different side of their kid on camera. And that was a thing that we didn't know. Yeah. We didn't set out for that. We set out to help them build confidence and understand a new world and what they're, the potentials that are out there. But now we're having parents and grandparents talk about how much it meant for their kids and for them too, to be able to see it and have their child or grandchild experience it. So
yeah. I love anything to do with the kids, man. Coaching the kids and I substitute teach also.
Okay.
So I'll be in a third grade classroom on Friday.
How do you do it?
In Bolivar. Which part?
How does she keep you in line? Like, oh, hey, I got a speaking gig on Thursday. Friday, I'm teaching second graders how to
variety
plant
is the spice of life, man. Do what? Yeah, organized. She's definitely the organized one.
I'm going on my daughter's field trip next week.
There you go. Where's that at?
We're going to Rutledge Wilson Farm Park or whatever it's called.
You'll love it.
And I've been there.
Oh, okay.
But it was weird because with everything we have going on now, the bookstore and Mom couldn't go. And so she was like, you want to do something like this? And I was like, why not? And but now, like, I don't know. I'm excited because it's something different. It's typically a mom thing. The moms or the chaperones or the what I don't even know what I'm called. Am I chaperone?
Probably.
Is that the official?
You're probably a chaperone.
I don't really want to add that to my resume. I'll just be a volunteer. I'll just be the creepy guy that's there the whole time. How about that?
Don't put that on a resume. Yeah, I would have gone back to chaperone.
Do kids still, the last field trip I was on, we were still wrapping soda cans in aluminum foil. So I don't know if they still do that anymore.
I doubt it. They're too bougie for that.
I can't ride the bus, though. I do know that. I have to drive myself. So I have to drive separate.
Odd.
Yeah, we did all that. I have become much more organized in all of these new endeavors from the just real estate guy. I've now learned systems and we talked with a 15-year-old girl she's 17 now, but she opened up an ice cream shop at 15. And like that was what I wanted to talk to her about and hope that that she's not making the same mistakes that I've made or that we know others have made because it's this entrepreneurship world, man. It's a twisty, turny. It's definitely not the Indianapolis 500. It's Watkins Glen. It just is something different. And you're not always turning left. Sometimes you turn right. I don't know. It's a fun gig, but it really is cool from this angle to see somebody in another community similar to Lebanon embracing not only the real estate world and the power of what we can do or how we run a business, but moving out and trying different things and saying, hey, community, come with me.
Yeah.
And you're hitched to the trailer and next year maybe you'll have to buy a bigger trailer because you got more people wanting to and understanding and driving and you're driving the bus, but you need the people on the trailer. See you there. I tried to make another analogy. It didn't really work.
I think more people are willing to hop on to is if you take the opportunity to, that if I just say, hey, you want to sit down and do an interview, especially with some of those older folks that have been around there for a while, there's clarifying questions like, what do you want to talk to me for? Right. What is, but as it started to go, now I didn't have to really reach out as much because other people started to funnel it because they would see it and they knew that I was honoring that person and the legacy part. I'm more into the legacy part than I am the sales part for it. Right. And so,
the sales is the ick part to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and because it's such a personal space, it doesn't have to be, I'm not selling very pitchy at all. Right. I mean, I think that's kind of gone by the wayside just a little bit. I mean, you have to continue to show up and stay relevant. Because the moment you don't, then people are like, I didn't know. Like I tell everybody, the worst conversation, especially in real estate, the worst conversation you can have, and this is, I'll tell you a story about this. Worst conversation you can have is from the person that's going, daggum, I wish I would have known because I just listed my house with so-and-so or whatever. I would have used you. And so I was at the doctor. I was at CMH. I was going to the routine little doctor's appointment. And I was at the front counter, and a lady I'd known. I mean, we grew up next door neighbors, and then, not like we hung out all the time, but I knew her. Right. And she's like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? And, well, doing real estate, doing that thing. And she's like, really? She said, I wish I would have known. We just listed our house and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's okay. And, and she's like, you need to pass out business cards. That's what you need. You need to keep passing out business cards. So anyway, I get called back to go to the office, and I'm in the little doctor's office, and the nurse's assistant comes in, and she's like, hey, my name's, her name's Kim. Hey, my name's Kim. I'll be with you, helping you out or whatever. And I was like, Kim, before we start, you should know this is a true story. And this is the part that my wife is like, how do I put up with you? I said, before we start, you should know I'm also a real estate agent. And I laughed it off. But Kim goes, really? Because my husband and I, we were just talking about, like, we want to buy a house. She's like, and I'm not kidding you. 10 days later, we were under contract on a house. Because I was like, really? And I was like, dadgummit, that's a true story. And so now, every now and again, I'll hear a little voice. It's like, you should tell him. And I'll be like, hey, for what it's worth, I'm a real estate agent.
I resonate with that so much because I joke, like, part of what I market is like, AI has been great. So like I make my AI guy where I still sell real estate t-shirt.
Yeah.
That way, because it did, I ran into with all these other things, like I mentioned before we started, like it's so hard though, and I go back to the real estate side being the ultimate small business because you just you can be good at some things, but you literally have to be good at everything or have some skill in everything, or you got to sell enough to hire or have your admin or have an assistant or, and it's a struggle, but I'm fortunate to have had those struggles because it's helping this other side of what we're creating. And I don't know, but next time I go to the doctor, hopefully I don't have to go to the doctor, but I don't know. I'm about at colonoscopy time.
Yeah. Well, those are fun too.
Yeah.
Make it as awkward as you can too. Like, whoa. Before we get going, all eyes here. I sell real estate. Anybody? And I don't know. I mean, that's what I did. And 10 days later, we were under contract. It was the weirdest thing.
Sometimes it's what you got to do, though.
I guess. I don't want to be that person, but unless I'm just having fun with it like I was. But I don't know why it worked, but it worked. And then, you go to the other side of that, and our next door neighbor's selling their house, and they're not using me. And I just found out. I'm like, they're good friends of ours. And I was like, that's great. Can't wait to wake up every day and see there's so-and-so signing your front yard every day. What a kick in the pants that is. People know I live here, for crying out loud.
I've had it all of those same things. And it is weird because like you can't, and that's why we've always been, even in the real estate world, like very collaboration over competition, because at some point, you're going to maybe or have the chance to sell that house, even though you don't list it, or you're going to work with them on a deal. And I don't know, I've been really focusing a lot on the real estate side about the commission discussions and understanding better how to embrace those because it's different now, or it can be different now. Yeah. And, I think at times our agents or our industry has failed the consumer in a lot of that. And it's second nature to them, but it should have been priority. Yeah. And I think we need to get back to some of that, but not to get too much on that high horse right now. But
yeah, I think the thing also that I've learned with real estate, and maybe I wasn't anticipating it, was the different type of buyer. I love helping people find their dream home, right? I love it when they're like, hey, I'm looking for something, and they'll say, give me the list of things. I love the hunt. I love to go let's go find this sweet place for you. And then on the other side of that, you might work with an investor who this is not an emotional decision at all. These are pieces of property to me, right? And so for me as the real estate agent, being able to know which hat to put on, like, are we buying a dream home here where we're going to make family memories, or are we just accumulating property right now? Does not matter. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's a different transaction.
We playing Monopoly or we playing life?
Right. Same. Right. That's good. That's good. You got that one.
Yeah. Finally.
That's a good one.
I got one.
But yeah, that's been kind of the difference, because I got into it for like the emotional side of it. Like, let's go look at these amazing property. Like, cool, look at this cool property. Whereas on the investor side, I have a friend of mine that buys investor properties. Like, don't care. Will it produce?
Do the numbers make sense?
Do the numbers make sense?
Then tell me where I sign.
And the last family, she's like, this is my dream home. Let's throw caution into the wind. Like, it's a little more than we wanted, but let's do it, right? And yeah, let's make this dream come true. And the other side of that is just so interesting. It's like, nope, not doing anything more than that, because then the numbers don't make sense anymore.
Right.
And so being able to, to have, you have to be a personable person, because you have to be able to ebb and flow in and out of those. Those are very different conversations, very different negotiations that might take place too. But
that's what I say. I really think, to me, the real estate side of things is just a paramount of building a business. And maybe I'm wrong in that. I don't know. But like, again, those ebbs and flows, the emotional ties, the marketing ties, the accounting side, like, you truly are that entrepreneurial spirit in a business. If you're the solo real estate agent doing your own thing, it may be different if you're on a team, or you're, the broker and you're just, trying to be more of a broker role or whatever. But I'm fortunate that I've been through so much of that and understand it a little bit better, because it is helping the other businesses. And now I'm going to kind of revert back and take these skills that I've nailed down in these businesses and move them back to the real estate side, and try to make that a little bit better. But there is probably nothing worse than seeing a yard sign in your neighbor's yard, or I guess I get it. Do you still sell real estate? So but it is what it is.
Well, again, that's why I made the video that I made. Yeah, because everybody knows me as a speaker. Right. Whether they see me at MC an event or a chamber event or whatever they see me. And for years I lived in the community, but I was traveling all over the country working with a consulting firm. I wasn't really doing a lot in Bolivar. Our kids were in sports there and stuff like that, but I wasn't really doing a lot, in Bolivar. And so we had to make that shift, as of a couple of years ago, to where, 2 years ago, I wasn't on the chamber board or in Rotary, or so you're just looking for opportunities. But yes, I also do real estate. Yeah.
Well, you're doing it well. You got a fan in me. Like I said, seeing your video was like the perfect time to kind of understand, and I'm probably gonna rip off and duplicate a little bit of it of some different things. I just actually talked with Brian about how can we make something similar, but touch all of the bases of what we're doing. Yeah. But you're cool. An inspiration to me, and it's nice to finally have someone that I can sit down and relate to. And I didn't expect to relate to it on so many levels, but hearing your story about your mom and Rianne and the loss you guys faced and all that stuff. I think it's really cool that you're sharing your story, but you're impacting a lot of people. So
I appreciate that. Thanks for reaching out awkwardly, and 2 days later, here I am. So not everybody would have done that.
Hearing your schedule, it sounds like I got really lucky. So but no.
Never too busy. Yeah. So that's the new campaign. Like, make sure, because people see me, they're like, that guy must be untouchable. He's all over the place. Never too busy. Like, just reach out.
I function better when I'm busy. Yeah. Like when I'm really focused and narrowed down and like doing what I think is making an impact. Like that's when I'm at my best, I think, because it keeps me from squirrel syndrome and from seeing a shiny object or, doing whatever.
Well, that's the hard part about being busy. Like, do I have the basketball program hat on? Mm-hmm. Am I answering those questions? So do I have the keynote hat on? Am I answering those questions? Do I have the real estate hat on? Am I answering those questions? Am I acting as a function of the board for the Chamber of Commerce? Like what, that's where it kind of gets exhausting. It's like, let me put this, hang on, let me switch gears. Or I'll get a text message about real estate, but then it's an email about a keynote in Montana or whatever, and it's just the back and forth. But it's also, at the end of the day, it's what I love. And so it's important to do what you love. And
do you time block well? Or does Rianne time block your time well?
So she has things set out on she's made all the jot forms, all the contact me. You should check the matt-griswold.com website. I don't know if you went there.
I didn't look at that.
She created it. She did all of that, and it's got the jot form on it and everything like that. But she also has calendar blocks on my Gmail. So if you wanted to get a time, there's blocked off times that you can grab from there. But yeah, I don't. Otherwise, it would just be all through text message. You're like, yeah, let's do it. And I wouldn't know that I'm supposed to be at the chiropractor.
One biggest thing that's helped me is actually saving names. So for the whole life of text messaging, I've deleted a handful of conversations. But for that same whole life, I never saved a name. Oh. So I was a searcher of trying to remember what we talked about.
Keywords or phrases. Yeah, I've done that.
So I never did. And in the last 6-8 months, I've been much more conscious of saving it so I can at least, it was good though, because in the conversation, then I can scroll through the conversation and pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
But it was finding that conversation or remembering to reach out and follow up with whatever. So
do you save them as first name and then business they work at? So
it depends. It depends. I've got some that are saved a little awkward. I got some that are just first name. If it's an uncommon first name, I can do that. But there are a few in there that are we don't even need to. Yeah, it's my own little.
It's funny that you called me Mark instead of Matt, but you've nailed Rianne every single time, and nobody does.
Well, see, before we even started, I was going to ask you something to relate to the Griswold family,
right?
But then I was like, that probably happens. We're not. But then I didn't pay attention. I just focused on the last name, not the first name.
So we did. So when I first started doing real estate, Rianne created a electronic billboard display. Electronic billboard display in Bolivar. And it's me with one of my signs, one of my yard signs or whatever. And she captioned it with, "Hey, Griswold, where do you plan to put a sign that big?" And it said, "Give me a call and I'll tell you." Pretty clever, right?
Yes.
We got not one phone call about that. It was brilliant.
I did the billboard thing for a year and no call, but it helped me understand the power of billboards, because a lot of people would say, "Saw your billboard. That's funny. It's great." People would send me pictures of it when they drove by. But I didn't really understand that one billboard in the real estate world or in the marketing world isn't really probably the most efficient use of marketing dollars.
No, I agree.
But 8 or 10 billboards, or in the case of locally or regionally around here, 25 or 30, it's a huge impact. But I did the whole, I did a cat joke.
Yeah. What's the joke?
It was, and I can't even remember. It was a Will Smith cat joke, but it got a lot of,
Where's the connection with Will Smith and a cat?
I don't know. It was like a little cat, and it said something. I'd have to go back and look at it. But it was that, and I did the whole #1 real estate agent according to my mom, because I just needed something. But then when I switched brokerages, I switched it to the. It was a dad joke. It was a dad joke about cats.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my thing for a while.
Okay.
But then quit doing those, and that's when people said, "Are you still selling real estate?" Right. So that's where I screwed up. But we learned.
Yeah.
But man, I appreciate your time. You've had a busy day. Glad you got to go have some Swiss. Got a little taste of Lebanon.
Yeah. I've driven by that building for years. Never stopped in there. So
Rianne's the real MVP, or Rianne's the real MVP because she got the big Swiss steak. You said you got the corned beef.
I love corned beef.
I'm gonna judge you a little bit on that.
So good. I got the corned beef. I got the fried mushrooms, and I got a butterscotch sundae.
The fried mushrooms are always good there.
Yeah.
Did you eat them before they were they were cool enough? Did you burn your mouth?
I ate my whole sandwich first because I know fried mushrooms are hot, and they were still hot.
little balls of lava.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But they're so good. You dip them in ranch, and it cools it down just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm an alternate. Ranch to ketchup, not at the same time. But I want some ketchup every once in a while, then I want a little bit of ranch. Are you a morel mushroom eater?
Yeah, I just had those for like the first time the other day.
Any this year.
I don't even know. I know they hunt them, but I'm always nervous because I don't know exactly, because some are poisonous, and I'd rather not to just have somebody else do that instead of me. I don't know what's poison and not.
I'm at the point in life where I'm just like, let's try it. Like, if it happens, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. But I don't know. It's fun. Well, appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you sitting down and this is thanks for sitting down across from me. See, I got to tie it into what we're calling it. So yeah, I made a joke with Tim last week about it, but this has been a fun conversation, and I hope folks resonate with it. I'm excited to see your book. Yeah,
maybe you can go in your bookstore.
It's not my bookstore. Like, you're going to get me in trouble with that.
Oh, sorry.
It's their bookstore.
The bookstore then,
and they're doing their own thing. But you'd be surprised the kind of clientele. Like if I'm assuming it's a little self-help, motivational kind of thing. I'm not a reader either. I'm an audio book when I mow guy. That's about it. 2 or 3 a year. Okay, before we go, most impactful book you've probably listened to because you don't actually read. You don't even have one that you've listened to?
No, like if there's a video about it, I'm in, right? I don't listen to audiobooks either. And what's funny is, I said it before, maybe I shouldn't say it like that, but I'll be very candid about that as well. Even though I'm not a reader, I understand some people are.
I don't get it. Well, this is the last one. I had this conversation with a friend. ADD or ADHD or AHDD, what is it? Because I remember growing up, it was, that kid over there has ADD. Uh-huh. But now we say it's more common for adults to have ADHD. Yeah. What is it? What's what?
So I was diagnosed with ADD when I was like a sophomore in high school.
Okay. And late bloomer?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I always had it, but it was just becoming a thing about that time. And one of my teachers told my mom, you need to have Matt evaluated for this ADD thing. So they did. And I remember doing weird things like having to walk like with duck feet in the doctor's office and stuff. I don't know. Maybe they're like, let's see how far we can go with this. I don't know. There's no test for it yet. All we have is the acronym. Let's think of what to do. And so I did. So we did that.
They built it opposite. They did the acronym first, and then we're like, that means this.
Yeah, I've always had a hard time with the focus and the concentration. I remember it was in 4th grade, and my mom taught in the same building there later, but I was in 4th grade, and I remember I was sitting up on my knees on the seat with my arms up on the desk, just kind of jacking around in there, and the teacher was like this, it's down, and I was like, and I waved back, and that came up in a parent-teacher conference, and they're like, no, sit. I'm like, oh, sit, okay. I'm a horrible sitter, by the way, so good thing this is a comfy chair. I guess
these chairs are great.
These are nice.
Well. So you had ADD?
I did. Never took any medicine for it.
Right.
But just so now everybody knows, it's confirmed he's got ADD.
Like I said, I think it's, I don't even know if ADD exists anymore. I think we morphed it and we added that H in there.
I don't know.
But then I don't know. I just had this conversation the other day, and I think I left more confused.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I have it. But I never had to duck walk.
Yeah. Well, then you don't know if you had it or not. If you didn't do the test.
True. Well, Matt.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I didn't get it wrong there.
Nope. Nailed it.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and good luck on the book. When do we think it's going to be out?
Fall?
Mm-hmm. Excited? How many pager?
I don't know, but it's not going to be like 130, something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's not going to be.
All right, I still won't read it.
Knock it out in a day.
I won't read it. I'll listen if you make it available.
I would love to do an audiobook.
Make it available.
Right in there. I could probably do that. With
AI now, you can do anything.
Yeah, that's right. It is true. AI.
The sky. There's nothing to hold you back.
Yeah.
So appreciate it, Rianne. You're not on camera, but I appreciate you coordinating all of this and making it happen. So thank you.
Thanks, man.
It's always weird to end them too.
Yeah. But Matt Griswold out.
And he sells real estate.
Love you, bye.
That's how phone calls in our house. So yeah, thanks again. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.